Okay, the business alignment, Glenicia, refers to the how all of the processes work
Yeah,
together.
we
You
heard
heard
that
that
one.
piece. Okay. Then
Yes.
culture, the
Yes,
cultural
culture.
alignment, that is about behavior in a particular workplace. And then the maturity alignment, that is about the professional or proper policies and procedures that are in place, like having an HR department, like having employee handbook and all those sorts of things. We know that that's a mature company as opposed to one that does not have those things. Then we talked about being user friendly. And one of the things I said was, there was a time some years ago when banks used to be really, really user friendly. And now they aren't so much. And I think when I noticed it, I don't know if you all noticed it at the same time, but remember when, I think it might have been around 2008, 2009, the President of the United States, when he like kind of clamped down on some of their fiscal policies and tax policies and all that. And you all remember when here, all banks had to comply with the know your customer rule. And
Yes.
yeah, right.
Oh,
And I was
I
worried
know
because
about that.
I was worried because I thought my bank didn't know me. You know, I ain't had much. They know she's coming with a little $3, you know. And but that's what, and a
Yeah.
lot of, I don't know, and you all can express how you feel about this. But I find in this COVID environment, when people, I believe, don't have the expendable cash that we usually have, like instead of being friendly, there are many organizations you go into and businesses, people are downright antagonistic. It's almost as if they want to know what you're coming in there for. Or y'all don't find that, or y'all don't notice. I mean, it's it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm gonna tell you too also, right? No, you have good spots and bad spots, and like everybody has.
Yes, ma'am.
And I can tell you, it's just that.
Too many rough spots in it.
And you know what? This is where recruiting and selection becomes so important.
But you know, with Marcel, the problem that we have is I just came from the college. The problem we are now in a society where people live in houses where people don't say good morning.
That's true.
So even though you're saying selection,
That's true.
you're pulling from a generation that don't have social skills. So bringing them into training, our first 6 weeks, we try to indoctrinate you into yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, and those kinds of things. But we find that that's just a drill. I need this job. I'm going to say whatever you want me to say. And the day after I pass out, I go back to my life. So that is what we have. So, and depending on what's happening in the country, training gets thrown on the back burner as usual. So we find that like since COVID, we've done no training. So we realize that we have gaps in knowledge. So the commissioner has now, we have our sergeants are the first line of officers in training. So that's what we have to be. It's not that they don't know better, but it's just so many of them that is their socialization. You find that they live in houses where obscenity is the rule of the day. So the first thing out of their mouth, they go back to what they know. Not that they weren't taught, but if I grew up for 18 years hearing that this is the way we speak, is a little different.
Yeah, but now here's the thing, because this is what we were talking about, right? We were talking about our organization, the culture, the environment, and the things that we foster. Now, two things. Training isn't just about standing up and saying, don't curse and don't, okay? Plus, training is only half of the solution. The other half is you have to have consequences and discipline to training. When I set up the National Training Agency, there were some people who took very unkindly to the way it was run. But we produced a manual. And anybody who came there to do any training, I had no interest in what they wanted to say. None. You say what was in that manual. And it was done in such a way that everything was just written out. This is what you say. This is what you ask them to say. This is how they participate. What was the reason for that? The reason for that was that's a national organization. So I can't come in there telling them some story, and you know how us Bahamians go when we say we training?
We embellish.
We don't, you know what I mean? And I can tell you, when I was down the road, and it's just come, that's what we do, okay? And so you don't want that, because for each cohort of your recruits coming in, they are supposed to hear the same thing, get the same thing, then they have to be monitored. Officer, in this country, Bahamian people are afraid of correcting people, okay? And that's why, because if you don't behave yourself as a police recruit and follow what the rules and regulations and what you should do, you shouldn't be one, right? Period. That's the same way. If you're working at Dolphin and you don't want to conform, then bye-bye. And we have to get to that stage where people are allowed to do what they're supposed to do. But then those people who are responsible for other people, we have to be responsible enough to be different. Because unless you are prepared, it's almost like being a sacrificial lamb. To be different, go sit down. Just get your money and go sit down, because you won't make no difference, okay? And we have to start think about how we make a difference. I'm gonna tell you all something. You have to, and this is why you can't be knowledgeable if you don't try to know. Every one of y'all, I always say it, and I say it to all my participants, you all should know what goes on the local news. Take $1 and buy a newspaper if you don't like to watch TV, but you have to know what's happening in your country. You have to know. I saw something that's still freaking me out. I saw the news. I saw the news about judges' decisions. I saw the news about ministers' reaction. We, the people in the middle, y'all. In particular, the last 2 years, I call up my sister and I reminded her. Every couple of months, I used to dream, take over, I get to run out my house, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And they used to say to me, "We gonna let you live in your little cottage because we like you."
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, I'm just saying, you have to connect this with what you do. You want to be HR people, okay? So guess what? People coming on their jobs with all sorts of baggage, all sorts of stress, all sorts of worries, all sorts of don't know. Your job is not easy. HR is not easy. Not if you're gonna make a difference. Now, if you only go into work to sit up. And in this country, we too like to sit up. You gotta work. You gotta make, if you want change, you have to be the change. I believe that. And so on this wheel, we can't forget process. You have to be process focused.
Right.
There should be a process for everything you do, no matter how small. There's a way you do it, because process means that you're doing the same thing all the time.
So this process is the way something is done.
The way something is done is the process. And you should be able to map the steps of every process.
That's like when you're preparing SOPs or something like.
No, a standard operating procedure, a SOP,
That's not the same as
and a process is different. A process is, for example, let me get one of my HR people here. Glenicia, we need you. Where
Yes,
are
ma'am.
you?
Yeah, I'm here. You're breaking up a little bit though.
Okay, I don't want to break up because I want you to explain to us the process of hiring an employee at your organization. Yeah, you heard me, right? You can't hear me? I can see your mouth moving.
You were breaking up. You
Oh.
were breaking up.
Oh, okay.
You said the process of hiring.
Yeah, of hiring an employee. Okay, don't tell me what the process should be, even if you're in following it, because I know it's not followed good. But what should that process be?
Okay, the process of hiring normally starts with there has to be a vacancy.
Right.
There has to be a vacancy. Then we would advertise internally, meaning person to work at the board. If persons are interviewed and they do not fit the criteria or have the qualifications, then we go externally, keeping
Okay.
in mind that we're a strictly unionized environment.
Okay, so
So
don't
we
give me
have to be
pros.
very careful.
Glenicia, don't give me pros. Give me
Okay,
steps in the process. So step one would be
step one,
verification
there has
of
to be,
vacancy, right?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. Step two?
Step two,
Step two in the
an
process.
advertisement has to go out, internal ad,
Internal.
yeah.
Okay, what's
Persons
step three?
are there. Person to, oh yeah, let's see. Persons who apply their what should I say? They're interviewed. We have
Okay.
interviews because of interviews.
Okay, so internal applicants interviewed.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
And then there's an interview report that has to be done.
Okay.
Upon that report, the managers have a meeting.
Okay.
where all notes and everything, you know, all the
Mhm.
information is compiled and then a selection can be done.
Okay, management meeting.
Can you still hear me? Yes.
Okay.
If there's no suitable candidate internally,
Mhm.
then we would have to advertise externally.
Okay.
Then we would do interviews again.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sorry. Advertisement. Persons then therefore have to apply for the job. Sorry,
Okay.
that part. We do a process of elimination. So the managers would look at the resumes and applications that we do have.
Mhm.
Then there's a process of elimination. And they take the best out of the bunch.
Okay.
Then we do the interview because we cannot interview everybody. So we take the best out of the bunch.
Okay.
And then we
So
interviews. Yeah.
that second step then, in part B, the second step, the first step would be external advertising.
Yes, ma'am.
Then the next step to that would be review of applications,
Right.
review of and then the best selected, the most
Yes,
suitable
ma'am.
application
Yes, ma'am.
selected.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then interviews
Then
are
the
conducted.
interview. Okay. Then the interview.
And of course, there's another report that has to be done. Then they have meetings, and then they make their selection based on the meetings that they do have.
Now, I would venture to say, she detailed that so you all have a pretty good idea of what a process is supposed to look like, because this is what you ought to be following every time. Now, we know that doesn't happen, but if you did this, the chances of you picking up the right employee would be very high. If it happens, okay? But this is what it means to be process focused. Because when you are process focused, then you are not personality focused, okay? And that is what I was saying when I was giving the example of the agency. We were not personality focused. We don't care how wonderful you thought you were or how, you know, that was neither here nor there. But there was a reason for that. What do you think the reason for that was? What do you think the reason for a consistent process in your organization? Doesn't matter which island, which area, which anything. What's the reason for that? What's
I
the
would
reason?
say fairness.
Sustainability. Absolutely.
Right.
And then it makes everything else within the organization easier for you to control. Okay? Because you don't have people saying, well, in our cohort, that ain't what we heard. You know, in our cohort, that isn't what happened. You have people, they're getting the same thing, they're being held to the same standard all the time. And then people can come back and say, oh, they just don't like me, they're trying to get at me. You know how we always say? And because nobody's getting at you. This is how it works. And this is what you're supposed to do. And so everything in your organization that you do is done by process. So it's either you have it formally documented or you're guessing. In most organizations, there is a process of correction and discipline. What does that look like? Carrie, no, Margaret, I haven't heard from you for a little while. Margaret, you there? Okay, Carrie.
I'm here.
Okay, Margaret,
Yes, ma'am.
you want to tell me what does your process, or what does a process, generally speaking, of correction and discipline look like?
Okay. Correction and discipline. Okay. This normally starts, I'm assuming, at the supervisory level. You talking with like a line staff? Or what are we talking about?
I'm just talking about a process, meaning a way we handle or deal with correction and discipline.
Most companies have
like?
most companies have that. That's in your handbook. So like if you was late, I guess 3 times. If you late, you get your warning letter. If you get a few warning letters or a few write up, you get a little suspension, that kind of thing.
Okay, here's what the process then says. For non-conformance, step 1.
Okay.
Warning letter.
Right.
Or verbal warning.
Verbal warning is first.
Verbal warning. Step 2, first written thing. Step 3,
first written letter, yeah.
In other words, a process is how you formalize what you do so that every time you're following that process and you're not changing it up for Joe Blow or Mary Sue or those sorts of things. Okay, so that's on process. So let's switch over on page 30.
Sorry, we do user friendly.
Oh, we miss user friendly?
What we do?
And I'm only thinking user friendly because the chain I put was Wendy. So I'm trying to think how we would slip user friendly,
Okay, user friendly would be their level of customer service. How they treating you. What, yeah, how they're making it easy for you. And I thought you were the one who gave the example.
I was thinking I put that on the process. That's the way they do their process.
No, that's a user-friendly process.
Okay.
Okay, so with user-friendly and alignment of performance, that's a service-driven thing. You want people to exactly. Okay, and that's when I caught off guard because I just wanted to tell her honestly that I truly believe for every unsavory character in our public service thing, you have 100 savory ones. I truly believe that because, I've had people, I guess, who want to be important stop me at the roundabout. Did you see me indicating you to stop? I say, yeah, but that's why I stopped. Because I saw, but it's the tone and the way, and I know I could be this child grandmother. You know what I mean? It's the and right, have some respect for decent citizens. On the other hand, I thought somebody had tried to saw one of the bolts on my gate. I was scared. Okay. I called the police and they came in about 8-10 minutes and they looked at the gate And they were so nice.
Mhm.
And they make me feel like all is well. And he
Mhm.
said, no, miss, he said, when last you had this gate service? And I had a gate service for years. And so he said, what happened by it, you know, opening and swinging the bolt break? He said, but you were all right. But it was like, and that's why we can't lump people together, okay? Where you see bad service, since we're talking about user-friendly service, you have to point it out.
Mhm.
Where it's there, point it out. But you can't say everybody is bad, because that's not true. All right. Because I feel safe, 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 safe.
Mhm.
And I really feel if I call, they will come.
Mhm.
That's not to say I haven't encountered, you know, one or two instances of rudeness, but I've encountered that everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere. Last time I went into one of our big stores and I said, my God, y'all don't even have a bag for people to put the things in.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sure.
No, you gotta
He was
take it
like,
home.
no, you're supposed to bring your own. And I'm like, I didn't even want the garbage I bought. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but it's those sorts of things I think HR people have to look out for. And that's why I will continuously say, you cannot do the best HR job sitting down in an office. You need to be up and around your organization so that you understand it. You see what is happening, you understand what is happening, and then you can help to improve the processes that need improving, or you can design or create new ones. But you have to be actively involved. So let's go and let's see what the main goal of performance management is, because this is a big thing that I really think needs to change in most organizations, the way performance management is handled. So the main goal of performance management is to ensure that the organization and its subsystems work together in integrated fashion for accomplishing optimum results and outcome. So when I say subsystems, everybody know what I mean, right?
The farmer?
Yeah, you got that right. That's right. That's your department. So I want to ask you this then. What are some of the key elements that should be found in your performance appraisal instrument? But before we answer that, maybe just let's look at the performance management objectives. The reason why you do performance management. To establish the objectives of performance management is to establish an appropriate system, a process, methodology, and that's only a big word that we just, Venicia, went through the process methodology of hiring. Okay, that's all that means. It's relevant to the needs, the size, the scope, and complexity of your organization. And all of that helps to support the performance culture. Now, as we move through the different concepts and dynamics and all of that of HR, you should by now understand and see why we started the way we started. Understanding your organization. Because if you don't understand and know your organization, then it's just consider yourself an administrative clerk checking up days. And you still have to know something about your organization to do that right. Otherwise, you may have managers and supervisors who you can't trust, who let people get away with things, who cover up things. Been there, done that. Okay, so that's one of the objectives. Then another objective is to link performance management to other HR processes to align performance consequences. And these are things like training opportunities, rewards and recognitions and development opportunities. And when we started off this evening, we talked about certain training that HR is supposed to do, the motivating of employees HR is supposed to do. And I'm going to tell you, little tiny things mean a lot to your employees. You hear me? Every year, well, you think we've been in this agency for millions of years, but the years we were there, every year we did a little award ceremony. We went right on, I think it's Mount Royal Avenue. There's an awards place there. Right. We went there, and then we went also off Village Road to one between Village Road and Camp Road, because they had the cuter ones. But we did, like, we just took like an hour off in the afternoon. So like we were open, but we stopped like at 4, and like from 4 to 6 we did the awards, and we got little awards, like a little award with a little trumpet. That was the person who could never stop talking, you know, always talking. We got a little reward with a book, a little award with a book, and like for the person who smart, you know, and always do good work and stuff like that. And they have loads of little ones you can get, or you can get them to put the thing on it that says superstar, you know, and we did that. And I used to, could hardly imagine the effect that had on people. They loved it. And I'm wondering, I wonder sometimes why organizations, and you don't have to do it for the whole organization, but you can do it for different subsystems, different departments, okay? And really give employees something to smile about, laugh about, and you think about them. And it ain't that big a deal, because the first time we did it, well, we had a small staff, so we were able to do all the staff. We just did it. We didn't have anything to eat or anything like that. We just went in, you know, and people clung around for a little bit. I remember somebody did the wobble, show us how to do the wobble. That was one dance or something. You know, and we had young people. And so that's all they want. They just, they want to feel included. They want to feel appreciated, you know? And honestly, I used to tell them simply, when they come, Miss Martha, I tell them simply, go from around me, because yes, you can, because you don't give me none of your pay. So go work it out. All right? And they would go back, I'm serious. And then I would pass by a little later, or they'd come back to me and say, Miss Marcel, I got it. I said, I know you get it. Just sit down and work it out. And that's what people don't do with their employees anymore. It's and that's HR supposed to do that. HR.
So what do you do when you staff is somewhat ungrateful?
They can be ungrateful.
You do it,
It's your job to ungrateful them.
but they say, if you don't do it,
Do that, Miss Mas.
someone slay it. Then if you do it for the ones who you feel are deserving, then there's another issue. Or Yeah, you know,
Mhm.
so we struggle.
I see, like, I don't know, it depends on what you do. Let me see how people are. People don't need much, you know. One of our quarterly things, we got some kisses, you know, the little candy, we got some kisses. We got a couple of sour balls. We got a couple of different flavor candy.
Mhm.
All the sweet people
Get the sweet candy.
get the kiss, okay? And all the sour ball
Get the
got a
crybaby.
sour ball, and we tell them, and just tell them, that's because you sour,
Oh, dear.
okay? I'm saying, and
Oh my
they
God.
get mad, but they laugh. And the background for that was like I told them, same plan, listen, even God, our creator, showed appreciation to someone who showed him appreciation. And I always bring up Abel and Cain,
Hey, around the other side, please.
okay? I always do. But there are little things that you can make fun. That's HR's job. And remember, I mentioned the book. You all go online. They got plenty books, things like games, trainers, play,
Mhm.
and all them. They have them. They help. They have lots of things in there to stimulate your people, but you all have to get them, Jamia. You all have to, and like I say, you work with, if you got a big department, you all got a cafeteria or a training room or something. If the department is too big, you all don't have training room. You got to be joking.
So serious, we don't have a room to interview persons.
Oh my God, that's
You're in the
disgusting.
conference room?
What was the comment? I didn't hear.
No, they don't. That's a big organization. They don't have a training room. You know, someplace you can sit a dozen and a half, 2 dozen people and do little motivational things with them. Gosh, I'm very surprised to hear that. Because you know, you oughtn't. Well, take them under. I see a nice gazebo up the street in the yard. Take them under. But I'm trying to tell you, there are many little things. Even the undesirable employees, they get caught up in. And get that thing, games, trainers play. They have something in there about doodlebug. And if you see great big management men trying to figure out how doodlebug jump from there and reach over there and jump in, it makes a difference, because then people begin to relax a little bit, because everybody, especially now, that problem. And this is something you have to be very aware of. And it's like the officer said, you watch people when it's safe, because you could hardly take your eye from right in front of you on the road. But you watch the people who are coming out in the workplaces. They're hateful. You wouldn't see somebody smiling, or two people in the car, you never see them talking, or they look like they're ready to. And just remember now, they're coming from home. They're coming from where they have invested their life. They're coming from the people they love. And if that's the frame of mind they are in, you think they can like you when they come in the workplace? They don't know you. They don't know you. This is it's an influencer's game. And this is why you said, also, officer, you know, you take them out in an environment for a few weeks, you take them through the training drill, you you try to make decent human beings, and as soon as the probation is over, they go right back. And that happens a lot. But then you have to have built in your system, which I know in there. You have to have built in that system reinforcement of these things. And then it's important to get people who understand these things and know these things to make a difference. If you just get anybody, you can't go in because somebody come to you and say, well, you know, I'm a trainer and I can do this and that, so pay me $3,000 a day. You're gonna hire them? And this is what we do a lot. And that's why HR, you can use this performance management system, process, tool, whatever you want to call it, to really help your organization. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And let me tell you why I say that. Because not everybody in the world like me or y'all. See, I know the potential of my people in my country, and I will spend my life trying to see that potential come to fruition. But not a lot of people feel that way. Not a lot of people feel that way. But us who know better is supposed to do better. So why is your performance management essential to business? And then I'm going to ask you to do something. It's essential to business because it helps to align employees, resources, and systems to meet strategic goals. How can it do that? How can it help to align your employees, your resources, and systems to meet strategic goals? Just think about it. One of you all mentioned it earlier.
Excuse me, that's that point you're reading from.
Oh, sorry. I'm on the top of page 31.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to come back when I finish that to page 30. How does it help? Performance management. How does it help? Come on, Carrie, let me hear from you. Let me know you're still there.
So to me, the performance management should be aligned to the objectives of the employee's job, right?
That's right.
And once they go through the process of the performance management tool, they're then able to see what they are doing well and what they can improve on. And once you can see these things, then it allows you to make any amendments, any adjustments that you need to do in your job. Then once you do that in your job, it should automatically then align to the goals of the organization.
Absolutely. And I think one of your papers on somebody's paper mentioned sometimes how hard it is even to get a transfer from one department to the next. And sometimes it's important to do things like that. Because let me tell you, if you sitting down, and y'all help me with this, because maybe I'm wrong, okay? I don't think so, but I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. If you're sitting in the same job, Salika, if you're sitting in the same job for 15 years and 20 years, not in the same organization, there's a difference. In the same job, don't you think it's gonna, wait, what's your, you think you will feel the same, have the same passion and all that that you had the first, say, 5 years?
No, could never.
Could
No.
never, could never. So sometimes I don't know why people don't want to move. And then when they won't move, somebody won't hold them back. Okay? And the thing is, you could be hired out of alignment. When does that happen? Kerry talked about that. When is it that you have hired an employee out of alignment? Come on, y'all. I hear this smoke all day. If you were on the TV, I would hear it. When is an employee?
And the company goes, don't we? I'm not aligned there.
When
She was talking something about objectives.
is, no, I'm asking now, when is the employee out of alignment? See that first point up there says it helps to, performance management helps to align employees, resources, and systems to meet strategic goals. When is that employee out of alignment? When he's not a good fit, okay? When what the employee brings to the table does not measure up to that job profile, all right? And remember what that job profile is. That encompasses everything you need, okay? And so sometimes you have to, an employee is really good, but because you put him in the wrong place, or the time is up, then make some readjustments. And you may find that that person, performance, productivity, pick right up, okay? And the other thing is, if you know of you see somebody is suited for something, why not put them where they are suited and move the ones who are not suited? Because I tell you, but even in the private sector, you know, not as much, but even in the private sector, and I've always said, you think I want, just let's say I have to hire a front desk, telephone receptionist, call person. I don't care how sweet you are on the inside. If that ain't on your face, okay? Like for instance, and I always used to say to people, right? You have to be, how can you be in customer service? How can you be a receptionist or anything like that if you don't like to smile? If you can't smile? And God only gives few of us the kind of face, okay?
Lord of mercy.
But that's true, Margaret, that you don't have to smile. See this child? She have a naturally, look at her. Yeah, but she got a natural face. Look at this face. And you know, this is a face that need, y'all don't know what it takes to be good here. You know, I'm serious, Margaret. You know how many times in you know, when I was really hot on the motivational speaking circuit and stuff like that, I used to practice how to smile in the mirror, you know, which look is going to be best as I talk to you. You have to, okay? And I mentioned before, Les Brown and I did a really super power pack thing some years ago at the Radisson. And you know what he told me? He said, Agatha, let me tell you, looking good is more than half of the solution. If you look good, no one cares what you say. And that's the truth. I serious in part, that's the truth.
Mhm.
Because you know what? The only thing people say to you, that was a nice suit you had on. I like the shoes you had on.
Mhm.
Okay? I used to do a column in the Guardian for years called Transformation Strategies, the ABCs. Okay? That came out once a week. I think it was on Monday. I can't even remember now because it's been a little while. And people could never tell me what I said in the column. I like that picture, boy.
That's true, you know, that's true.
Yes, y'all think about it.
That's true.
Think about it. So you can become what you need to become. Okay? There's something, and then after you've been doing it, it automatically becomes a part of you. Okay? My whole persona and self is helping people, giving them everything I have. That's how God made me. Okay? Because I want to see the best. And that's why I respect jobs. And it's important for HR to respect jobs. The cleaner, the garbage person gets the same respect
That's
that the
true.
director, the CEO, the general manager, the commissioner, everybody gets. You respect people. And you know how that really hit me because I had someone when I worked for the wholesalers and retailers who was just a warehouse hand in the warehouse. I didn't know that this man was a reverend bishop in a church until I know must be went to some function. And there he was. And I'm like, we don't even know who we're dealing with. Okay, we don't know who we're dealing with. And so that's why when you're dealing with people, HR people are people's people. A people's person is someone who put others ahead of themselves. You know, I have colleagues and they always say, we don't hear none from you, we don't see you. You know what I tell them? I ain't no poppy show. Why you have to see me? Okay? You don't have to see me. But I make a difference. I can't walk down the street in peace. So I don't come in my house. Oh, Miss Marcel, oh my God, Miss Marcel. I've been in your class in 1980. And you know the difference you made, just some little thing you say. That's what you live for. You don't live for other people to see you and big you up and because let me tell you, when you're doing, I'm Bahamian tonight. When you are not doing,
When you ain't doing.
hey, but I would thought I'd be a Bahamian. But honestly,
I understood it.
Thanks,
Our
Gary.
dialect is
But listen, when you are not, let me put it like this, walking in people's will for your life, you have a problem. They make a problem for you. So you must always know what it is God has for you to do. Because you feel it in your heart, you know. If you're a good HR person, in your heart, you may not be able to do anything about it right now, but in your heart, you want your organization to be better. You want it to be the best. You want the people to be happy. You want to do whatever you can to make that happen. That's an HR person. People first, you second. And about you, you may be third, fourth, fifth. Okay? And you're gonna get blows. The best people always do. We good like that. Okay? I'm serious. We get alligator skin. I can get you all really think I care what anybody think about me or what they say? I don't. But you know what I care about? I believe I have an obligation to the Lord. And I believe as long as I do what is right, he will take care of me. And he has shown me that all of my life. Okay? And I have had instances that really pushed me. And I walked away before I heard an employee. Because I got told, you can't fire them, then you do the next best thing. And I did the next best thing. I said, I can't do that.
Oh, wow.
They mean too much to this company. But that's okay. Because my next move was, God said, you did the right thing. The next thing I know, I was setting up, I don't know if you all remember the quality movement of the early 90s, the Bahamas Quality Council. Set it up, run it, go out there, do all the training, do all the things we did. And the money wasn't mine, but I did it, right? And I left them because the bank recording, I left them because the bank that I asked for a mortgage, I had my house with a bell course. And they told me I needed $110,000 to finish the house. This would have been in October 1996. Sitting on my board was the managing director of one of the largest finance companies in thing. He told me I can't afford it. I was asking him to give me. I was just saying I need a mortgage. You know what, y'all? The Holy Spirit tell me, you break it down. My big house. Get a bell course. He said, break it down and I'll show you what to leave. And I break that baby down. If you all ever have a reason to come to my yard, instead of one house, I got 3. All right? But there are certain things HR people, well, people, you know,
That's you?
excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, where are you going? That's my son. I know you want to tell me in Long Island. Or whatever. Yeah. And so that actually happened to me. So I break it down, ended up with 3 over the years. Because I still meet people who laugh at me and say, because I don't piece bit. Ms. Marcel, you finished our house yet? I said, no, but I finished. But I'm telling you, it's your, this thing got to be inside of you. This, and if you know you don't like people and you know you feel all in like that for people, this is not the field for you.
Exactly.
It's part of the homework. Yeah, yeah. It's honestly, it's not the field for you. But this could work if you are where you're supposed to be. No matter what happens to you, it work out. Because my life just get better and better and better. They give me no balloon. I left that agency and I opened my own training business. I wouldn't tell you all the money I make in my training business because your heart can't take it. Okay? So from then, where did the Lord put me in a place? Lord, I know you didn't do it once, but you don't have to do it again. That's the parliament. And I want to ask you all, how many people in their lifetime can say they sat in the parliament, in governance? Don't mind some crazy people try to make it look bad and crazy and dumb, and because only the Lord knows some of these people come from. That in my business. You all hear what I say? Only the Lord knows. You're not my business. But I'm saying you do wherever you are, Margaret. Wherever you are, Carrie, wherever you are, well, I don't know why I always want to call her Delicia. Wherever you are, wherever you all are,
Uh-huh.
give your best, honestly, as unto the Lord. Because that's what you're doing it for. Because you will get what you're supposed to get. But don't, you can't compromise you. And sometimes people want you to compromise to get things. Look at me, when I tell you the devil is a liar. Okay? The devil is a liar. You're going to get just what you're supposed to get when you're supposed to get it. Okay? But remember what you all tell me in all these homework, how important it is to have integrity and honesty and trust. Trust me, they are important. And so when we're looking at performance management, those things are important as well because they help us to align employees. They help us to set performance goals, which is going to help our organizational goals. And under there, those bullets, and I mentioned someone put Glenicia, she talked in her homework about good communication skills. You have to communicate with clear expectations. So, well, it ain't supposed to be like, well, try to do your best because, I don't want to tell you this, but they putting the pressure on me. The managers like to say that they putting the pressure on me. So I will, no, don't do that, man. Just say, this is what
Is expected.
is expected. This is what needs to be done. Okay? And the other thing is, be consistent with appraisal instruments. And I know most companies don't do it. I see it for what? 3 years, I think it is 4 years. I sat with the public service. And I know Jesus 2 times. And I sat with them as their head judge for the office of the year. And I was appalled at some of the things I see. Senior managers, they're not appraising people. They're not evaluating people. Some of them, they just go back to the year before and copy.
Wow.
I lying?
They call and ask you to send them a
Copy
of the last 2 appraisals.
That's bad, man.
It sure is.
And then they give you the exact same thing back.
Yeah, Ms. Marcel too, this is they would do, like, they would, if you have an annual evaluation due before the quarterly, they would send the annual, but we don't have the quarterly, so how do we know how they did the quarterly for you to give them this? And that's what kind of, we
Okay.
question that.
Okay. And so I also know that there are times when things don't make no sense because they write one thing,
Yeah.
then the number doesn't correspond to what they write, and then the remarks they make about people don't
make
correspond to nothing. And then when people don't want to sign off,
Yeah.
they get mad. So what in a situation like that, HR has to advance some sort of policy where you settle this. Because, for example, if you're telling me I always perform, what's the word to use? Let me use the word above standard. And they say, I always that, but then on the final line, you put standard.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? So
what about
Sorry, go ahead.
employees? What about employees who get good reviews and then they have all kind of write-ups inside the HR office?
But that's just as bad. Okay? That and that is lack of integrity, lack of honesty, and I would venture to say that's when I wouldn't trust my HR department. Because something like that, it's HR's responsibility to try to sort out. because you should call, and this is something people got to do. You cannot be afraid to talk to a direct report and his or her manager and supervisor the same way, because you're supposed to be the holder of the truth. You're supposed to be the reconciler. That's HR. You're supposed to be the one who trying to sort things out. So you can't be afraid to say, but this doesn't make any sense. How are you saying all these things? Then down here, you're saying that. Or HR should know when that performance appraisal come to HR. HR is supposed to look at that and look at the inconsistencies. And what I used to do, I would, make a little note of what the inconsistencies were. So, and I would just tell the manager, I need to see you on this. And especially if an employee didn't sign it. And they would have had to sort it out. Either the person was poor or they were good, okay? And but that's an HR call. So HR departments where, sometimes people say, oh, we don't get any respect or stuff like that. You gotta earn respect, okay? But most people too timid. See, when you say it the first time, or you present a little report the first time, or email, I don't care how you do it, let them know. They may not pay any attention. Also, there may be reprisals. Okay? In one of my classes, I had 3 officers. I think one of the officers was out of Ilusra. Anyway, sharp as a tack. All right. And I really appreciated them because within their sphere, their environment and their framework, we know there's only so much you could do. Okay. So we don't have no grand expectations. What you gonna do? Walk up to the commissioner, I sat in the class and read. If I was gonna miss that, knock you on myself. You know what I mean? But you could do a proposal. These are some things perhaps we can consider as we go forward, that would make it better. And always back up what you say. Because if you think something could make it better, shouldn't you have a rationale for it? Okay? So you always include that. And so we just said, be consistent with those appraisal instruments. Make employee development a priority. This is HR. Because wherever that supervisor or manager says that employee is weak in that area, either that manager and the employee or HR and the employee should sit down, because if I remember correctly, most of the appraisal instruments have some sort of goal or objective for the next, 6 months or a year or something. And HR should have so much work to do that you can't breathe, because you should, 3 months or 6 months later, you're not going to find out from the manager or the employee, well, where are you as far as this is or that is. That's how you find out what training courses to arrange for them to send them on. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. And so we make employee development a priority. We take steps to improve morale. I'm serious. You gotta think of things to do, man. Do little something. It don't have to be no big deal, but you have to try to build their want to, and then empower employees to do their jobs well. Now, this goes back to helping to align employees, because if you have them in the wrong place, they will not do a good job. Okay? It's like you need the nutrients from a broccoli, but you eating a banana. That don't work. You're gonna get the nutrients from the banana, but until you eat the broccoli, you won't get the broccoli's worth. So in order to empower employees to do their jobs well, they have to be aligned properly. Now, I know in some organizations, that's harder than in some, but you can only do what you can, and you know, this is the way it should be done. The sad part about it is a lot of the people who are in the senior positions and in the higher positions don't know what you know. So when you go, you real frustrated because same old thing, they ain't moving nowhere. And I recognize that. So don't think that I am ignoring that. So let's look at performance management made simple. And that's just a little connective thing that I put there for you. And where we have planned strategic HR technology, that's just all the things that you can possibly do, the opportunities to make things better, to improve processes, to come up with different policies, to maybe get different equipment that you need and all of that. And then when people have the tools, the technology, the methods, whatever you want to call it, to do their jobs, then they still need oversight. And that oversight comes from coaching, training, and development. That's oversight, monitoring, supervision, leadership management, all those sorts of things. And then another part of the circle, connective part, is to evaluate. That's what we just talked about. Okay, all that stuff we were talking about with the appraisals, and people talk about succession planning, and I don't know how much I believe in that in its generic form. I believe more in cross training. I believe that people should want to know. And you look again, that's where talent comes in. You will always find a talent wanting to know more, wanting to get better at what they do. But if I pick you, Caleb, right, and I say, okay, you succeed me, the chances are you figure, oh, she done pick me, so you ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? Because I didn't get hit. It don't work. It ain't supposed to work like that. Right. When it comes that time, it's supposed to be something else. Now, that's in most organizations. Because now here's the thing. In an organization, like your organization, I still don't believe in succession plan because that's done outside. But I believe in development. So if you have 2 or 4 assistant chiefs, if you have some superintendents, they are supposed to be developed so that they could step in if any of the other ones blow, because we're going one day, all of us. So it should be that level of leadership at that status, at that status, so that someone is always ready, and not someone on the outside saying, I think this one, or I think that's one.
So,
You
Miss
see?
Marcel,
Hey,
so I feel like I am confused about what succession planning is, because I thought what you described, having someone being able to take the role if the incumbent isn't there. I thought what you described was what succession planning was. So I am a little confused to what it is.
so don't get confused. Maybe it's just the use of the word. And I was sort of referring to actually picking someone.
Oh, so you're saying that you shouldn't just pick someone that
Exactly.
should be trained that okay.
You shouldn't just pick someone. I think there's great danger in that. But what you should do is develop the core of what's, what's around. Like you are automatically being developed for the next level.
Correct.
And that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, okay.
When this person gone, we can put in this person.
Exactly. And so let's name that person now. No good can come out of that.
Yeah, I get you.
No good can come out of that. Yeah, so that's how that is.
Okay.
So from evaluation, we go to reward and total compensation. And that's another thing we were talking about, because especially in organizations where you get in one increment and two increment and double and triple and quadruple increments and all the many things, you really need to follow this whole circle in order to get it right. Okay, so in developing or improving your performance appraisal system, there are some things you can look at and do. Evaluate the current performance appraisal process. And if it's not working the way you think it should work, HR, you have to make some recommendations as to what can perhaps improve it. Okay, so also never leave your organizational goals, never leave sight of them. Always know, because you're working, human resources is working to meet those goals.
Goals come from.
Exactly. But remember I say now, whoever heads human resources should sit on that exec management team. You have to, how, but y'all understand why organizations don't function and work the way they should? And you have to be, the HR person has to be firm enough and risk-taking enough. Now, no, I tell you, from I always like to kind of size up, and I could be wrong, but y'all remember me saying a couple of weeks ago, Margaret? Margaret got the kind of kahuna.
Lord. Hold on.
Margaret is a risk taker, even in her writing. Okay? And sometimes you just have to do it smartly. smartly. Officer smartly. Okay? And I tell you, I learned the word manipulation in a good way. Life, not necessarily manipulating equal bad,
Right.
but it's like
Like
influencing,
strategizing,
shaping,
yeah.
strategizing circumstances. And you have to do that, okay? And listen, the one thing I have learned, everyone likes to be valued. But in valuing, you don't have to compromise anything. Okay? And around here, I know it ain't like this in Barbados.
You may be surprised.
But some serious wickedness is going in these organizations.
Mhm.
Serious wickedness. Okay? And I figure, and y'all always remember this, your gifts from the Lord make room for you. Okay? It may take a little while. It may take a little while, but your gifts make room for you. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay? And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons I hate politics so much. When we went off to those international conferences, you all really think people care about changing the world and making it better? Oh Lord, no way. Good getaway. And just want to see if their face could make. We used to go to the parliamentary things, the parliamentarian. That's the magazine. You know what I mean? And they make me sick when we put it like that. But we do our work. And it may take years. But if you're supposed to be there, that's where you're going to be. And if you aren't supposed to get it, guess what? God got something else for you. So stop fighting him. Stop fighting him and let him. I could tell you that I know, been there, done that. I ain't 71 for nothing. Seen a lot of things in my days, a lot of experiences, done a lot of things all over the world. Okay, so I'm telling you the dynamics of life. In your heart, you know what you want to do and why you want to do it. So I'm gonna leave us with, we're talking about developing an appraisal system. So we evaluate the current process, see how it can be improved. We identify our organizational goals. And the reason for doing that is goals change from time to time. So you have to know what the current goals are. Set performance expectations. That's important. And it's one of the things that organizations fall down on because of ineffective management. And in all my training classes, I used to tell employers, don't call me in to do nothing for your company, for your employees, unless I could first have a shot at your managers and supervisors. Because whatever I tell the employees, they have to make sure it is done. They have to supervise and monitor that. And so, with the help of HR, we monitor and develop performance throughout the year. We evaluate employee performance and set new performance expectations for the next year. That's what that performance appraisal is all about. And so your performance management keys, these are the things you do. Coach and train, motivate, make corrective action, and you terminate when that time comes. I don't know why people are so scared to let people go. You ain't working, you ain't doing nothing, bye-bye. Okay, and let people who want to work, work. Okay, vote is a joke. And keep good records. Now, we're gonna end with the reasons why employees don't get the job done. And it's only 3 reasons. And that's why you can manage performance with those keys we just talked about. Coaching and training, motivation, corrective action, termination, and we keep good records. But I'm going to tell you all the truth. I don't know what is happening to labor in this country, because labor has no teeth. This is the weakest, most ludicrous I have ever seen labor industrial relations in terms of weakness at the labor board, weakness in industrial relations between unions and organizations. And I don't know. There was a day, when labor was okay. Then you had men like oh God, come on, y'all help me with this man, not Donald Simonet, the other labor man, very good. You have men like Thomas Bastian. I mean, these were excellent labor people. I can't remember the real person I want to. Who? What name you just get?
I'm just saying, he's dubbed the father of labor.
So Randolph Fox.
Sorry.
Yeah. Listen. Oh. They were real. Y'all understand the difference between talent and employees and people? They were talent. They would have laid down their lives for what they believe. They laid their lives down. You don't see that anymore. You sell out. Let me tell you, when an organization could take the people's right from them, the right the law give them, your country got a problem. This is a problem. And you know what I tell myself? All my life I work for my country. I'm tired now. Otherwise, I would have been out there with them on the front line fighting for my people. The only difference is I hold my people to standards. I dead serious. Because every time y'all come late, that's a couple of marks off. And I ain't joking. Y'all know that, right? That's why it's important for me to see y'all on this TV screen. Okay? But you have to hold people to standards. You have to have expectations of people. So, reasons why employees don't get the job done. Simple. Number one, they don't know how. And if they don't know how, and you hire them, what you're supposed to do? Coach and train them. Okay? Number two, something or someone keeps them from it. So you're supposed to make sure they have the right resources, make sure they are motivated to do the work. And that is why you always have to think in terms of aligning and realigning employees. Before you throw them out, give them a chance. Because you might have placed them in the wrong place. Give them a chance in the right place. And then the last one is they don't get the job done because they don't want to do it. So when they don't want to do it, what you do? It's called corrective action and termination. Bye-bye, birdie. Okay? And we honestly have to get back on track with these things. And we will have more productive and better performing organization. Now, next week, we're going to talk a bit about ethics and compliance. We're going to talk about health and safety, and we're going to talk about laws and legal obligation. Now, people, I'm not giving you any work. So at least all the
Laws and
legal obligations and laws. At least, see if you find yourself a copy. Somebody, you don't got to get all of it. The Employment Act 2000 and Acted 2002. That's the latest, the Employment Act there. You want, I may be able to get you a copy. I'm going to point out to you, even if you get a copy, I'll point out the sections of the,
It's online.
exactly, but I ain't go online. Y'all ain't going online. You think I know y'all? And we want those, we want all the relevant laws. So that's the Employment Act. We want NIB, National Insurance, because
NIBS and that, NIBS, what do you call it?
yeah, but what? National Insurance Act, yeah. Yeah. So
Labor laws, you want that too? The
hmm?
labor laws and
The employment, no, I don't want it. I want you all.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I want you all to at least look at it.
Yeah, because I have to run now.
Yeah, so that we know what we're dealing with, because they're the things that HR should know. And if your organization have an industrial agreement, HR gotta have those things I just mentioned, the HR Bible, and your employee handbook, your standard operating procedures. Because guess what? The standard operating procedures or the handbook have to fall in line with the standard operating procedures.
When I asked you about, when we're talking about processes, right, you said way. And when the people write SOPs, that's basically the same thing, like they writing the steps to a particular role or desk or something.
But the difference is, in a process, you can find many different procedures. Okay, like a process is the task, the step-by-step task, task 1, task 2, task 3. Each task would have a procedure or procedures. Okay, so the process is the whole. The procedures detail the task of the process. Let me see if I can. Look right here. For example, verification of vacancy. That was task 1 in the process. Now, what would be the procedures for verifying the vacancy? What do they do? Because take, for example, a manager come and say, I have a vacancy. You gotta,
You probably have to say why you need this vacancy.
you gotta make sure
Sure, yeah.
you have a vacancy. So that's called, that's the verification. So what do you do to make sure would be the procedures? Yeah. All right. So any questions before we go?
You said you on the 23rd, you're not getting anything today?
No, you get
On the
this.
20,
Pardon?
on the 23rd, you said you wanted us to submit the
House of HR.
House of HR.
By the 23rd. When I get here on the 23rd, I want all of them to be here, the house that HR built.
Okay.
That's why you're not getting anything tonight, so you can start working on that. You have 2 weeks to produce that, because I want to see some creativity. I want to see, I mean, my last class blew it out the park, the last introduction class. So I really want you to outdo them. And you know, if you got to get help with people finding nice pictures and things for you, like I would have to do, then don't worry about it. Make sure you get it.
Okay.
Okay, my cell phone number, you all, is 376-7525.
What's the area code?
242. So hook me up on WhatsApp.
All
People
right.
be WhatsApping me from all over the world. 376-7525. Glenicia, you good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, just making sure. So please don't, I expect the house on by the 23rd. Okay, so don't be telling me on the 23rd, oh, I'm not finished, I didn't get it. Don't want to hear it. Okay, because I want to get them marked, and y'all wouldn't know it. Over and over and over, I look over your work, trying to find reasons not to give you all high marks. Okay, but I don't, so put me in your WhatsApp, and I'll WhatsApp your grade, your mark and your grade for the homework you did to you. That's fair?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm. And you know, just send me a little message if you or WhatsApp call or whatever, you know, if you need me to answer something, but just don't be asking me what you must do, because I want to see how well your creativity works. And all you have to know is, in that house, everything for HR we covered. You know, maybe it was just introduction, so we didn't go below the surface on anything. But I want to see how well you can connect all those pieces and what it means to you, etc. and etc. Okay, so make sure everybody got my number. And for y'all who want your numbers, just send me a little WhatsApp and say, you know, Miss Marcel, this is me, and I'll send it back to you.
I just sent it to you.
Oh,
Send it by when you think we'll have a mark by Monday or today?
but I have, okay, y'all who are here, you all have your first set.
Yeah, I have my first. I mean, the second
I'll
one.
have, okay, the second one, give me tomorrow. I'm not doing any work. I'll have them by Friday evening for you. Yeah. So
And it's the same one, this.
The 21.
now, while you're at it,
Tonight.
this, isn't it nice to present your work like this?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You're trying to make up for.
Every little bit counts.
Good night, you all. It was a joy having you all here. Enjoy the weekend.
You too, and travel safely when you go.
Thank you, dear.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, good night.